is WCPO 9 News.
Thanks for joining us for WCPO 9 News. I'm Adrian Whitsett, and here's a look at some of today's top stories. The search for two missing tri-state boys continues today. North Star International Search and Rescue says small teams will be out again in the Lawrenceburg area trying to find Nilo Lattimore and James Hutchinson. Despite sunny conditions yesterday, the group says the river was running too fast to have divers in the water. Cincinnati police officers have a big warning about crime in a local neighborhood. This electronic sign at the intersection of Calhoun Street and Moorline Avenue in Cuff asks people to lock doors and take keys. CPD says nearly 40 vehicles have been stolen in the neighborhood since the beginning of this year. Matthew 25 Ministries is putting together a truckload of supplies to help support tornado victims in the South. They're collecting personal care items, cleaning supplies, bottled water, tarps, trash bags, and more. If you have anything you'd like to donate, bring them to Matthew 25 Ministries off Kenwood Road in Blue Ash. A tri-state lawmaker is rolling up his sleeves today, helping locals get a COVID-19 dose. Ohio Congressman Brad Wenstrup, who represents Eastern Hamilton County, will help Tri-Health doctors and nurses this afternoon in giving vaccines to patients at the Wall Street Conference Center in Norwood. Wenstrup is a licensed doctor. Raven.
All right, everybody, we are looking at a much cooler day. Also, mostly cloudy skies for the rest of the day. We won't start clearing up until we get to tonight. Now, as far as winds go, well, it'll be about 20 to 25 miles per hour, gust up to about 30 in some places. So it's going to be that kind of day. We'll drop down into the 30s for tonight. And then as we head towards the rest of your forecast, 50s for your Monday, sunshine. And then looking at some midweek rain, and for opening day, a little bit on the chillier side into the 40s. That's your forecast, everybody. Have a great Sunday.
Rescue crews spent hours Saturday here at Grant Lake in Brown County trying to find two men. According to Brown County dispatchers, one man in a kayak tipped over in the lake and another man on shore jumped into the water to try and save him. Search and rescue crews were trying to find and save both of those men Saturday afternoon. The call came in around 4:15. Several departments were on scene, including the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and the Bethel Tate Fire Department. Mount Orab Fire and EMS led the search, and Loveland Water Search and Rescue actually pulled one of the men from Grant Lake. Rescue crews put that man into air care and flew him to UC Medical Center. Brown County Dispatch says the second man was pulled from the water, but he had died, and neither man was wearing a life jacket. The search wrapped up shortly before 8 p.m. From what first responders know right now, they say that man who went in and tried to help did not know the kayaker. He simply saw someone in trouble and jumped in to try and help out. First responders did not release the condition of the man who went to the hospital. We're still waiting to find out the identity of the man who died. Reporting at Grant Lake in Brown County, Josh Bazan, WCPO 9 News.
People are rapidly seeing changes once they receive the COVID-19 vaccine, but not everyone in their families, like children, can get it. So we asked, what's safe? If you're starting to lean into those family photos again because you have the COVID-19 vaccine, you may have thought, what about the kids too young to get it?
Yeah, both of them are below 16.
We met Tara DeHall, his wife, mothering kids outside their home to talk about how the vaccine has changed their lives.
We can relax, we can go each other, we can go to the parks, we can have get together. We'll be back to our normal life.
And Hamilton County Public Health Commissioner Greg Kesterman says, generally speaking, that's safe for adults who are vaccinated.
Grandma and grandpa can finally get back together with their children and grandchildren and hug and not wear masks. Kids are generally speaking less likely to transmit COVID as an adult or a teenager.
There's a graph he gave me to help me understand what prevention methods you should take if you want to have a play date. If it's just your household and one other household, and at least one of those have been vaccinated, no mask or prevention methods needed, unless someone in the unvaccinated house is high risk. More than 2 unvaccinated households at one location, like out to eat, family reunions, mask, social distance, and wash hands.
The best guidance for getting groups of people together would still be to do so outside. And if you're not able to maintain social distance, we're going to recommend that you wear masks.
If you want to vacation with another family,
you could look at doing some testing before a vacation. Each family really has to make a personal choice on what they're comfortable with.
Some of you asked, what if your child is over 16 but does not want the vaccine? Or they do want it and you don't want them to have it. Well, Hamilton County Public Health says kids need parental permission to get it, and parents have the power to stop their child from getting it. The DeHalls say that's not an issue for them.
We feel very comfortable now.
I have reported on how to navigate the vaccine registration process in Ohio. I'll put a link to that in the story on our website, WCPO.com. Reporting in College Hill, Courtney Francisco, WCPO 9 News.
The latest census information is that about 1% of the Brown County population is African American, and in that small number, there is mixed feelings about whether or not to take the COVID-19 vaccine. Still, word of mouth and drive-through vaccination centers like this one are a grassroots effort by the Brown County Health Department to get information and doses to those that need it.
I was going to all websites here and to the Eastgate area and the Anderson area, and putting my name on their list. And
Dorella Grant, like many in Georgetown, is eager to get the coronavirus vaccine. She joined lines of cars at a Brown County vaccination drive-thru to get one of 2 doses.
I know it's not going to cure it, but it could lessen the severity if you should get it. It's just like back in the day when you were coming up, you got the polio, you got the measles.
But on her first attempt to get the vaccine, she was turned away because of a limited supply.
Probably wasn't 2 days later, the health department called and asked me if I needed to still get a shot.
Grant is not alone. The Brown County Health Department to date has given more than 6,000 vaccines to residents. Marjorie Pelt says it has been a grassroots effort to reach people who live out in the county.
We don't have public transit. We don't have a hospital in our county. We rely heavily on our doctor's offices that are here.
Pelt says her office has worked closely with the county's only weekly newspaper to get applications to residents who don't have access to printers. And when it comes to getting that info to the Black community, it has been about word of mouth.
All of us here know people throughout the county because we're from here and we've been here.
But not everyone in the county's Black community is on board with the vaccine. Gerald Alford pastors the First Baptist Church in Ripley, Ohio. He says his congregation, which largely includes elderly Black people, has shared mixed thoughts about the vaccine.
Say, they're not taking it because of the Bill Gates situation, or some of them say that they're not going to take it because of the Miss Evers project. They were told they would be given one thing and all of a sudden, boom. My thing was, I just don't want to be 5 years from now, I hear a commercial. If you've taken this vaccine, please call the attorney office.
He says it's the country's history of using Black Americans as guinea pigs that causes mistrust. Despite his doubts, Alford says the choice to get vaccinated is up to each person in his church.
I tell them, don't, because I'm not taking it, don't you take it. Let that not be the reason you take it. My faith is what keeps me going. And just as it did with the children of Israel, I'm fine with it.
In Brown County, Whitney Miller, WCPO 9 News.
I'm real old, man.
Ronald William jokes all the time, but at 65, he and fellow home health care worker Natalie Johnson.
I missed my last year's birthday. I spent it in the house by myself, cooked my own dinner. This year, I want to be out somewhere, and I want somebody to cook for me.
Have simple dreams the vaccine they almost skipped might bring to life.
I was scared because of what they say the side effects are. We don't get the same type of health care as everybody else. One time I was in the hospital, couldn't even hardly stand, and every time I stood, I passed out, but I still got sent home.
It's too much history of disparities. I've experienced it firsthand. I'm a veteran. I was a medical specialist in the Army. There's a particular hospital that I go to. I'm not going to make reference to the name. I went in with an elevated temp. The nurse communicated, she tried to minimize. Oh, that's not an elevated temp. I said, wait a minute, man.
We have to find it in our hearts to step above. People are dying. I know probably 10 people who have passed. So I just was determined. I'm not going to let oppression stop me from taking care of my health. I'm just not going to do it.
Initially, I was hesitant, but I stayed in tune. I did my research, consulted with people, professionals, got feedback, facts. Then I had to proceed and come in.
The first location I came to, I was first in line that day. And I was there for like 2 hours, and long story short, they sent me home without it. They were all white. And I kept trying to be patient, but I felt some kind of way. I'm like, I told the lady I was first in line, and it's an hour later, why am I still here? And she kept telling me they couldn't find my paperwork, they couldn't find my paperwork. I was hurt. I left there with tears in my eyes, like, they don't even want to vaccinate me and all of this is going on. But I'm not going to let fear stop me. I'm going to fight through whatever I had to fight through to get to the other side.
Doors and room for both to get shots opened in Springdale. Right after getting second doses, this once skeptical pair left empowered and felt protected. Larry Seward, WCPO 9 News.
Get ready for a wave of evictions in April. The national moratorium on evictions due to the pandemic expires March 31st, and some tri-state landlords are already kicking people out for non-payment. This is what Ayanna McClure found when she pulled up to her apartment in Avondale one day this past fall. Painters were taking everything out and putting in new locks.
Oh, because this is my apartment and they changed the locks.
This healthcare aide tells me she lost a month of work over the summer and had fallen behind on her rent.
So it was no way I could come up with like $2,000 or $3,000.
Ayanna, who's now staying in a local women's shelter, says she was evicted despite the eviction moratorium.
I guess like the first day that he could file the eviction, he did it.
She's not alone. 3 days after Christmas, we found Amanda Barger and all her belongings tossed out of her rented mobile home in Cleves.
I know this is a business and you gotta pay your own way, but they could have a little, kindness.
The good news for renters behind on their payments, the national moratorium on evictions has been extended into the new year. The bad news, there are still many reasons why a landlord can still legally kick you out.
Disturbing your neighbors, not maintaining, keeping the apartment clean, those sorts of lease violation or tenant violation duties.
Nick DiNardo of Legal Aid says tenants need to know the eviction moratorium is not automatic. You must submit a CDC form available at the CDC or Legal Aid websites or your local library. The moratorium only applies to financial hardship.
There are plenty of people who are being evicted right now.
Among them, these two women. In both cases, their landlords told us there were other reasons besides late rent. With the moratoriums on evictions expiring, take that stimulus check or tax refund and make sure you pay your landlord first so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matteries, WCPO 9 News.
A devastating end to this 7-month-long saga. Court documents say Dominic's mother and her husband tried to hide his body in this West Side apartment. His father tells me he is looking for the highest level of justice.
My whole world has changed. I'm hurt. I done lost my son, my twin, my oldest boy.
Marcus Allen can barely stand to recall the past 7 months.
I really can't explain how I feel. I'm angry.
He recently learned that the body found in December in this Westwood apartment belonged to his 19-year-old son, Dominic Allen. Police say Allen was first reported missing back in September.
I got a call from Michael. He says you need to go up to her house. They believe they found the body. I stood frozen for a moment. 72 days. 72 days went by before y'all found my son.
According to court documents, Dominic's mother, Kenya Stallworth, and her husband, Robert Robb, tried to conceal the body under clothes and behind a sealed door where investigators say the body was decomposing. Stallworth and Robb are charged with gross abuse of a corpse and tampering with evidence in connection to Allen's death. Marcus Allen says he wants nothing but justice for his son.
I want them to get everything that's coming to them.
And he has a message for anyone that will listen.
The children are our future. Stop killing them, please. I don't want nobody else to have to go through what I'm going through and what I'm dealing with.
In Westwood, Whitney Miller, WCPO 9 News.
Paul Montgomery hopes his Pig Candy BBQ, which will open March 26th in California, Ohio, both honors the neighborhood's history and builds towards a future he and his wife dreamed of years ago.
My wife and I, or other half and I, Christina, she's also my business partner, kind of came up with the goal of opening our own place about 7 years ago. And then we stumbled upon this building 5 years ago, and it's been quite the process.
Pig Candy's building served as California's police station in 1913. The barbecue restaurant's basement kitchen was once the station's horse stables.
We saved as much of the historical charm as we could, but then at the same time, a 100% complete remodel.
Pig Candy includes a dine-in area, grab-and-go counter, and outdoor seating that can accommodate about 70 people. The restaurant's decor reflects the history of the California community.
We've got a town historian named Jackie. She's 93 years old, born and raised in California, Ohio. She let Christina into her archive and go through all of her old photos. These are all old photos of California, Ohio, and Coney.
Montgomery said he hired longtime chef Luke Tranowski to run the kitchen.
It's the same barbecue, but different barbecue. Instead of the brisket, we're doing brisket one day a week, but we're doing the shoulder claw, which is an old school cut of beef.
Tranowski said Pig Candy will offer a few items not seen in most barbecue places.
We have a vegan geta, which is, everyone likes geta, so let's let the vegans enjoy too.
Tranowski said the vegan geta is just part of a healthier spin he's giving most of Pig Candy's side items.
We have a pasta salad, there's a grain salad.
Pig Candy will also offer gluten-free waffles.
As my wife and I have gotten older, we try to watch what we eat a little bit more.
Montgomery said he hopes Pig Candy helps fuel California's revitalization.
My wife and I have just fallen in love with this little community, this little river town.
For more information about Pig Candy, visit WCPO.com. I'm Brian Maines, WCPO 9 News.
We actually have more work than we do have available labor. So right now we are in a hiring frenzy.
Zach Kramer is managing director of Aero Elite.
We are a textile manufacturing facility. So we manufacture any type of soft goods from small bags to large engine covers.
Kramer says the problem is finding people who sew.
So that's been a very big challenge for us, mainly because the folks who do have sewing skills are typically older and they're at the end of their working career.
Aero Elite is partnering with Lois Shagog and her program Stitched at St. Francis Seraph Ministries Sarah Center.
It's a 5-week program.
Shagog created Stitch to offer training to the people experiencing homelessness and poverty who get meals from St. Francis Seraph and Over the Rhine. Because of the challenges of the COVID-19 crisis, she started with people who have steady jobs but wanted to learn to sew. That attracted students such as Mona Bronson Fuqua, who is married to a former WCPO freelance photographer.
So anytime you can increase your skill set, I tell my children, I tell the people I know, anytime you can add to your skill set and make yourself a more valuable option for any employer, that's a good thing.
She says she learned a lot.
I can use a sewing machine. I know how to thread a machine. I'm not afraid of it anymore.
If they at least learn the basics of the more computerized machine, they can come in and at least know the lingo, threads, needles, cutting.
Kramer says that's what his company needs.
So the basic sewing skills are the same, whether that's on a home-style sewing machine or a commercial sewing machine.
He says Aero Elite soon will launch an apparel brand called Citizen Label.
With that, we expect to increase our sewing by 3 to 5 times. So we're really excited for this label, and we specifically want to hire men and women that really need the job most in Cincinnati.
Lucy May, WCPO 9 News.
Hello, everyone. I'm 9 First Warning Meteorologist Sherry Hughes. We got into the low 70s today, and this evening we will have clear skies, but clouds will be building, and overnight we'll start to see some showers and also storms develop. We could even pick up an isolated strong to severe storm, as you can see a portion of the tri-state from Cincy southward and portions of southeast Indiana are under a marginal risk of maybe one of those storms or two becoming a little stronger with some gusty wind and also hail. Rain, though, likely won't move in until, I'd say, 1 or 2 a.m. It will be very quick moving across the tri-state, so by 8 or 9, getting up in the morning, it'll all be done. We'll be left, though, with some gusty winds out of the west, gusting upwards to about maybe 30 miles an hour. Cloudy conditions, but skies will begin to clear as we head into the evening. So here's a look at your forecast. We're going to be, again, in the mid-50s at 8 in the morning with maybe a few showers still around. Temperatures still sliding down, 52 at noon, 50 at 4 p.m., and we're at 46 by 8 p.m., but we're dry.
Seasons changing at Princeton High School.
What's that?
After 4 seasons at his alma mater, Mike Daniels left the Vikings.
It was extremely tough because you're talking about a place that is near and dear to my heart.
To become the director of on-campus recruiting at Army West Point.
Very exciting. I think I'm going to do a great job representing Cincinnati, representing Princeton while in New York.
Daniels' time at home proved seasonal, but he left his mark The 2003 Princeton grad became the first black head coach to lead a GMC team to the playoffs.
I'm going to miss his energy, his enthusiasm.
Junior quarterback Mekhi Lynn says Daniels' impact went beyond the field.
He helped me grow out of my old childish young ways and helped me become a young adult.
While Daniels fell short of a state championship, he believes he laid a strong foundation.
We were able to, in 4 years, 4 recruiting cycles, give 38 kids scholarships.
Out goes Daniels, in comes Andre Parker, who leaves his alma mater Winton Woods to take over as head coach of the Vikings. In a statement to WCPO, Parker said, "I'm a guy who will work and do everything for the betterment of the program, school, and community."
Really significant, Reggie.
WCPO high school insider Mike Dyer says Parker brings instant credibility to Princeton.
Has done some amazing things, 6 playoff appearances. I think they have a 40-8 record since the Division II state runner-up season of 2017 there at Winton Woods.
So as the season changes,
coming to Princeton, you have to do better.
So does the temperature of the program. Reggie Wilson, WCPO 9 Sports.
I'm Raven Richard. One man's trash is another man's treasure, but that's not the case for one East Price Hill woman. It was a simple Facebook post on Saturday afternoon to the group West Side Best Side. Angela Hessen asked if anyone could pick up the litter outside of her unit at the Senior Chateau in East Price Hill. She wrote, "My apartment is on the first floor and I'm growing tired of looking out my windows every day and seeing cigarette butts and Kroger bags covering the ground." She even offered to pay. Within minutes, the responses started pouring in. Some people offered to do it for free or organize groups to clean it up. One woman even offered to have her Girl Scout troop help out. And what makes this story even more meaningful, Angela has cancer. Her treatments today left her so sick and weak that she was no longer able to speak to me on camera.
Come from that tree to this tree, and we met in the middle.
Fourth floor resident Daniel Taylor decided to help.
It was pretty bad. Yeah. You can notice where we didn't clean.
Taylor didn't take any pictures, but he says picture this, then multiply it by a lot. Angela says 2 teenagers also stopped by to help, but she didn't catch their names.
Well, I was coming here on a call and I seen some young guys picking up paper and litter from the front of this building.
Derek Hillman does maintenance at the complex and is also an East Price Hill resident. He says they clean up every day, but it's never enough.
But we have to come out and clean these grounds every, 5 days a week. So if we get any kind of help, it's a blessing. Did a good deed.
Through her window, Angela told me she's happy she can finally see the daffodil outside her window bloom. In East Price Hill, Raven Richard, WCPO 9 News.